princely, yeah, the crown goes to me. The Fresh Prince, look at how I get jazzy. First of his name, Leone will reign. I'm next up, so go ahead and crown E. Now I know that you have heard, but I'm the young David, giant killer, playing at the demons of my enemies. Caliata, Italy, think of me for centuries. They gon' sing my songs out in the streets.
Okay, so we are back for part 3. This is probably gonna be part 3 because I feel like Red Moon is just gonna have its own part, and then General and I Love part 1. The other 3 songs are just gonna have to fit into part 3. So let's get to it because this is probably gonna be long too. All right, so background info. This Visualizer lead single. This is the meaning of your boy's name. It's Project Concept album. All the songs mean my name, and this particular, like this one is literally my name. This the name my parents gave me. Okay, this song actually works on several levels because Amari means prince. That's my name. Amari or Amori, which are 2 female versions of my name, both mean divine ruler, which kind of relates to like the whole concept of like royalty, because a lot of royal families throughout history have done like the whole divine right thing where they're like, oh, I'm ordained by whatever religious being that we believe in to be above all of you guys, which is like super arrogant, but whatever. I thought it was cool that like my name connects regardless of gender. So yeah, let's go. Anyway, I didn't want to play it safe and make a super generic run-of-the-mill song for my debut song, so I wanted to take a different approach to the production of a royal sounding song than just the standard like horns and brass as the main melody, because that's a huge trend right now. For example, I really like Lil Nas X's music, and he has a lot of brass on his production. His production team uses brass a lot, like as the main melody. But I didn't want to just do that exact same vibe, as it seemed really obvious for a like literal royal themed song. So instead, I sprinkled brass throughout the song, a la a funk band in the 70s who would just like have like random brass moments in the song, while having other aristocratic instruments incorporated as well to act as the main melodies. So there are 3 kinds of harps in the song. Just make up the song. 3 kinds of harps, 3 kinds of violins, bells, medieval Celtic guitars, harpsichord, which is a Renaissance era instrument that the modern piano was modeled on. So it's like the dad of the modern piano. So 98% of the sounds you hear on this song are produced by instruments that are literally older than the Mona Lisa. So if the production sounds like a medieval sword and shield action movie, or I guess the Renaissance fair, a la the Lord of the Rings, that's intentional. Speaking of swords, the sound effect that you hear when I say pulled the sword from the stone is in fact the sound of a sword being unsheathed that I tuned to be in the key of E minor, which is the key of the song. So that's just a fun little production tidbit. By the way, that sword being unsheathed is not one of my swords. I say one of because I have a bunch, because like who is really surprised that this weird dude has a bunch of swords? But yeah, mine don't make the right noise. So yeah. Album art's explanation. I love this cover art, by the way. Just like with the song, I tried to subvert expectations a little on the cover art. I just realized I didn't touch on the cover art in Red Moon, but like who cares? Focus on the lyrics, okay? The cover art is cool, it's edgy, I like it. Buy a shirt with it or something, but the lyrics. Okay, just like with the song, I tried to subvert expectations a little on the cover art for this. Instead of just me doing me wearing a crown or something like me on a throne or something, the main part of the image is a splash from a water droplet hitting the surface of water that I thought looked a lot like a crown. And so I took that image, I color shifted it to make it gold instead of like, you know, clear blue, whatever. And then I duplicated that and inverted the duplicate so it looks like the splash is happening above and below water. This is actually a reference to face cards, like the playing cards in card deck, which is a theme that will be recurring throughout my music. So just fun fact, that's a little Easter egg for like a bunch of stuff I got coming, which won't make sense for a few years, but hopefully you guys stick around and see it and you're gonna be like, oh my god, this dude really is a genius. Like he totally had this planned out years in advance. I did. I have so many projects planned out, it would blow your mind. Like the few people who I've explained this to, they're like, dude, you're a psychopath. I am. So stick around, okay? This is literally the tip of the iceberg that travels all the way through the center of the earth. Okay, it's a lot coming. This is why the title Prince, like the title of the song on the cover art, is in the top left and bottom right corners, like the K or Q on the king cards or queen cards, since I brought up Q, in card decks. So the entire album art is made to look like Subversion of Expectation crown that is duplicated and inverted to look like a playing card, which again kind of relates to the whole idea of success being a game, which was brought up in Red Moon, which is the whole, playing chess, setting up success thing. But in this case, we're using playing cards, which is one reference to Prince that, or royalty that I make. I'm gonna later tell you how many references to royalty I make, and this is one of them. So not all of them are specifically in the lyrics, but know that all of them, yeah, you'll see. Okay. I'm about to explain it. Shut up and talk. Teaser and visualizer. The teaser features a golden eagle, specifically its wings. This connects both to the line, numbers going up just like a bird, and also the line, flying up the mountain like an eagle, how I rose. That happens shortly before the teaser begins. So like, that's not even in the teaser, but like the teaser acts as a teaser for, well, the song, but also for lines that happen right before the section that actually plays in the teaser itself. I put a lot of thought into this, okay, guys? Okay, let's go. It even connects to the Colosseum line, but more on that later. The teaser also features a golden circular sound wave display in the top corner, meant to represent the sun. See what I'm saying, brother? Night songs, sun songs. So this is the first of the two sun songs. There will be many more connections to the sun in my music, not just on this project, but like just in general in future releases. So this is basically an early Easter egg that I am now spoiling to let you all know that I am in fact embedding Easter eggs into everything already. Not because I think anyone is like checking for Easter eggs on my stuff now, but I'm hoping that one day I figure all this out. I play chess well enough to end up successful, and people come back and look at this years later. Maybe you watching this right now are somebody from the distant future who found me later and came back and looked at my early project, and you're like, holy crap, this dude really has been planning this for years. Yes, I have. This is my master plan. This is my magnum opus, which is also a reference to something later. You'll see. The point is, I'm gonna look so smart 5 years from now. I look crazy right now, but 5 years from now, I'm gonna look so smart. 10 years from now, I'm gonna look like a genius. 15 years from now, I don't know. They're gonna build a statue of me or something. I don't know. It's gonna be awesome. You'll stick around. Shut up and read. What are you doing? I am in fact embedding Easter eggs into everything already. The visualizer is just a spinning red and gold crown with lions on it. There's really not much to it, but it's on the nose for the theme. So it's kind of camp, but I like it. I'm kind of a camp individual. My wall is red. Like, what do you want from me? Come on now. Some lyrical things I wanted to break down. Beseech thee that you'll stay so you'll see. Okay, let me be normal. Beseech thee that you'll stay so you'll see. Beseech and thee are Old English words from a time where nobility was more common. Like governments have kind of replaced nobility in most parts of the world now, but when these words were more commonly spoken, nobility was more of a thing. I think beseech is a terribly unsexy word. It just sounds terrible, but as a songwriter, I am theme over vibes all the time, so I wanted Old English words in the song somewhere, and so I put them in the song. That's what happened. But if you think that line sounds trash, well, you're right. But so what? It fits the narrative. So that's what we doing. The Fresh Prince, look at how I get jazzy. That line is a Fresh Prince Jazzy Jeff line. So Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith. I know everybody kind of like canceled him because he like slapped somebody. Whatever. I don't care. This is a good line. Fresh Prince Jazzy Jeff reference, but it's also a double entendre because the section includes horns, which are not just royal instruments, but also jazz instruments as well. So there's that double meaning there. To everyone who hasn't been a fan of mine for a long time or doesn't know me personally, they will hear, go ahead and crown me. But instead, the line actually says, go ahead and crown E, like the letter, i.e. the first letter of my first name. It's essentially an Easter egg for those who follow me the closest, know me personally, or took the time to actually like read the lyrics, or I guess took the time to actually watch this video. Thanks, I appreciate that. Clearly I put a lot of thought into this, so people appreciating that by just like consuming it is very rewarding. In the first verse, 3 lines that look random are actually connected, but in somewhat subtle ways, because it's all connected. Like my brain is literally that, like in movies where they have like all the little pins with the strings and like it's a wall, one big conspiracy. Yes, that is how my brain works, so it's all connected. Okay, first line, looking for my flowers on the path that I chose. Flowers is the key word of emphasis. Well, flowers and path are the 2 keywords of emphasis there. Obviously means hoping to receive praise. You know, when you give somebody flowers, it's a idiom for getting praise. For the life path, for the path that I've chose, which in my case is doing music as well as some other things. But it connects to the next line, which is flying up that mountain, path in the last line, flying up that mountain, like an eagle, how I rose. Rose is a kind of flower, like in the last line. Okay, eagle connects to the next line, as in flower, and also rising up. So rose has a double meaning there. Rose as in flowers, looking for my flowers, and then rose, you know, when you fly, you're rising up, rose, which is why I worded it that way. Lastly, this is my mom's favorite line: building coliseums with the stones, which that's stones, mountain, path. Okay, those things are connected, that they throw. And the Colosseum was built by the Roman Empire, which had the eagle as its emblem or brand, i.e., whether they throw flowers or stones, I'll still use it to keep flying higher and building my empire. The eagle connects to the Colosseum bit in the next line, stones, mountain path. Yeah, you got it. Okay, next. I think you got the point there. If you didn't get it, you can DM. If I explain anything here and you're still confused, you can always DM me. I'm very easy to reach, and I'll try to explain it in a different way so that it makes more sense to you. Removed the sword to carve my name in stone. This is a play on the King Arthur myth of the sword in the stone, i.e. the story of how he became king, which is the whole concept of this song. And the concept of carving something in stone to make it unchangeable, to make it just set forever. So I am carving my future kingship in stone. That's what that line means. I start the second verse with a line about me being the young David and reference to, yes, to, stories from the youth of King David from the Bible. Both of which were after he was anointed king. These 2 stories happened after he was anointed king, but before he actually became king, i.e. during the time where he was the crown prince of Israel, which this whole song is about me being not the king yet, but like on my way. So it was important that these 2 stories come from a period that was happening in that period in David's life. 1, giant killer. So this one's pretty obvious. Giant killer is referencing the story of David killing Goliath, the giant, which I'm assuming most people who grew up, at least in the Western world, have heard at some point. I don't know too much about the Quran. I know that there are some similarities. Protestant Christianity, Catholicism, and Islam, they're all Abrahamic religions. They like have the same stem or something. So I don't know if King David is in the Quran or not, but yeah, this is a biblical reference. I grew up in a religious house, so there's a lot of biblical references in my songs. But anyway, part 2, playing out the demons of my enemies. This is also a reference to David's youth, but I think most people aren't going to catch it at first, so that's why I'm explaining it. It's a more subtle reference where he would play his lyre to cast out the evil spirit of King Saul, which was the king of Israel before him. A lyre is a type of small harp, and in this verse, or not in this verse, in the verse sections, which is where this line occurs, a harp plays the main melody of the song. Yes, that was intentional. If there's ever anything that seems like it was a coincidence with me in a song, in writing and references, it's not. It's intentional, I promise. In the second verse, from I'm climbing, okay, I'm just gonna read it because you're not gonna know what I'm saying if you're not looking at the lyrics. It's kind of funny that I told you guys to pull up the lyrics, and then I just kind of read it to you. So you didn't have to do that, but I feel like this probably still makes more sense if you have the lyrics and everything pulled up. Oh, another thing, I didn't write this here, but right after the playing out the demons of my enemies, I say Cali out to Italy, think of me for centuries. That is another reference to the Roman Empire, because I made a bunch of references to the Roman Empire in this project. There are through lines, and one of the through lines in this project. So again, even though the album sounds sonically distinct song to song, there are a lot of thematic and lyrical things that tie songs together, and one of those things is the Roman Empire. And so this is another reference to the Roman Empire, even though I did not write it in my script, but I am now looking at the lyrics and seeing it, and I should have said it. Okay, so Cali out to Italy, think of me for centuries, because we still talk about the Roman Empire, even though it was centuries ago, and it was Rome, Italy. Okay, they gonna sing my songs out in the streets, which is also a slight reference to David, but that's a whole other thing. In the Bible, it says that David, he had to like kill a bunch of people to get the king's daughter. He was supposed to get her after he killed Goliath, but they was kind of like, nah, just kidding, psych. And so then he had to kill like 1,000 people, and he ended up killing like 10,000. And so then they used to like sing in the streets of his victories in battle. And so that's a reference there to David, which I again didn't write in the script. I think my thought process was, oh, I'm gonna leave some of these things more nuanced so people can catch them later, or like as they like sit and digest the album, there'll be some things like, oh, maybe this is a thing like I touched on a little bit earlier, but I'm now just not doing that. I'm just telling you what my thought process was there. So there's enough other stuff that I didn't talk about in this. Hopefully you still have some appreciation for the nuances of the project. Okay, this section, this is where the script actually says, I'm climbing up, is the ad-lib, red and gold lion, but my name not Lannister, but don't get it twisted, still push you from the banister, messing with the crown, gonna make me put my manners up. Okay, so now explanation. In the second verse, from I'm climbing up all the way to gonna make me put my manners up, is a Game of Thrones reference, which I'm sure a lot of people caught, but for people who haven't watched Game of Thrones, I'm about to explain it to you. There is a scene in season 1 where a character named Jaime Lannister, which is, if you haven't seen, I'm halfway explaining this. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, me telling you that it's Jaime is not going to explain anything to you. There was a very powerful and rich family called the Lannisters. The Lannisters' heraldry, so their coat of arms, their house branding was a lion, and their colors were red and gold. Hence, red and gold lion, but my name not Lannister. Because my house branding is also literally a lion, and the colors are red and gold, amongst other things. But I'm not trying to necessarily emulate the Lannisters. I just like this branding, and it also connects to some things that I'm gonna do years down the line. So stay tuned. But anyway, this particular family, they produce a lot of main characters in Game of Thrones. Jaime Lannister is one of those main characters, and he very early in the series does something that kind of affects the rest of the story forever, which is he pushes someone out of a window. I said banister because it rhymes, but the person is on a windowsill. I'm not going to tell you who it is, because that's spoilers for whoever hasn't watched Game of Thrones yet, but still might at some point. I don't know if those people even exist. Like, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones by now, you're probably not interested, but whatever. He pushes somebody out of a window, and he does that for a few reasons, but one of the main reasons is to protect his family's he's doing it to protect his royal family. I'll leave it there. Okay, it literally says, again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers here. Explain this in a way without spoiling. I'm trying, me from the past. We'll see if me in the future was able to pull it off. So yeah, I am referencing that moment in Game of Thrones where Jaime pushes someone out of a window to protect the crown. And Jaime, he has manners, kind of, and in this moment he's not being a very mannered person, because he is protecting the crown. This is weird halfway explaining it, but for anyone who's seen Game of Thrones, you don't even need this explanation. You got it already. You know what I'm saying. For those of you who haven't seen Game of Thrones, I don't know, watch the first season of Game of Thrones, and then you'll come back and be like, wow, Amari is so smart. He totally like nailed that in the second verse. I don't know if you'll say that, but hopefully that's what this is. This is a reference to Game of Thrones. I like this section a lot because it not only takes note of the fact that I'm aware that my branding looks very Lannister-esque, but also references the fact that this beat's working title. Have I explained what working titles are yet? Okay, so I mentioned it in Red Moon, but let me explain to you what working titles actually are. Working titles are the names of songs before they become the songs we know them as. So a working title of a beat is what a producer titles the beat before the artist gets on the song and writes their own lyrics on it. And working titles tend to be insane. I've heard some really crazy working titles for songs that go on to be like rather like normal or tame, or they're just very different from what the song ends up being. But the working title for this beat was King's Landing. So this is also that section in the song is also a reference to the working title of this beat. And this beat was named King's Landing before I decided it was going to be the beat that I used for Prince, because there were several potential beats for Prince, and I gave them all different royal themed names, and this one that I chose just happened to be named King's Landing. For those who haven't watched Game of Thrones, it's still not gonna make sense. King's Landing is a place in Game of Thrones where there are a lot of royal people, and I will leave it at that. It's kind of in the name, King's Landing, right? Okay, anyway, the line in the second verse, "I'm seeing purple rain from the sky because I'm," is a double entendre. I've said that a lot, right? Yeah, I like the double meaning. On one hand, you have the fact that rain, R-E-I-G-N, that kind of rain, means this would make a lot more sense if you're looking at the lyrics right now. I'm just saying. On one hand, you have the fact that rain means royalty, and the color purple is a color that is often associated with royalty. On the other hand, it's a reference to Prince Rogers. Yeah, I'm doing that a lot, right? And his iconic song and movie titled Purple Rain, rain that falls from the sky. Again, several references to a Prince on this project, several references to Prince Rogers, on this project, but it was important for me to have a reference to Prince in this song specifically because we literally have the same name meaning, and this song is titled Prince because my name means that. So I wanted this song in particular to have some Prince references. The next line is also about Prince, which goes, "White doves and cymbals." Both of those relate to Prince via his iconic song, "When Doves Cry," a nod to the fact that, so that's the white doves part, "When Doves Cry." And the cymbals part is a nod to the fact that he changed his name into a symbol. Like, he was known as the artist formerly known as Prince because he went by this really cool symbol for a while. And that was specifically to spite his record label, which was referenced in the previous song, which is Red Moon. So the white doves and cymbals thing is another tie-in between Red Moon and Prince. And also just another reference to Prince, the artist. What does hegemony mean? I've been asked this a lot. People are like, dude, what are you saying? Hegemony means leadership or dominance by one social or political group. And this relates to this entire section, which I am now going to read. There's like a lot of internal rhymes and stuff in this section. So, messing with the crown gonna make me put my manners up. We just talked about that. So don't even try to separate me from my destiny, indisputably who I'm meant to be, the hegemony, holding all the keys, aristocracy, yet comes to me. It sounds better when you listen to the song, me just like reading it out like fucking slam poetry or something. It don't sound as good like that, but it sounds good in the song. So go listen to the song. But the hegemony, holding all the keys. That's what it is. Hegemony means leadership or dominance by one social or political group. This relates to the entire section that I just read off, talking about how it's my destiny to be on top because, well, the whole concept of the song is about being a prince, specifically a crown prince who will one day be king. There are different types of princes, but the song is about being a crown prince. So, hence, it's my destiny to be hegemony. I'm not cocky. I swear. Any of you guys who know me know that I'm super not cocky, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people who don't know me who may end up seeing this video and be like, this dude is such like a douchebag. No, I just, again, theme over everything. And the concept and theme of this is about the different meanings of my name. And my name literally means Prince. Like, there's only so many songs you can write about the theme of Prince. So, yeah, that's this song's theme. Oh, okay, this is cool. If you look at the song from a macro perspective, the animals mentioned are doves, which are connected to aristocracy. It's kind of seen as like a noble animal, and the artist whose name was literally Prince, specifically. And also, other animals mentioned are lions and eagles. Anyone who knows anything about lions or eagles is going to know where I'm going with this. The two most common animals associated with royalty throughout history have been lions and eagles, and that extends into the modern day via these two animals still to this day being by far the two most common national animals, which are the animals that represent governments in some symbolic way, and they are usually used on like their coat of arms and seals and things of that nature. So they still represent dominance and being at the top via governments, just not nobility anymore. In fact, I think something crazy like 2/3 of the world have one of these two animals as some form of one of these two animals as their associated national animal. Not all of them are just like straight up lion or eagle. Like Iran has like the Persian lion. Like it's a different, there are different kinds of versions of these animals, but like lions and eagles are used a lot in national symbols. And if you're in the UK, then, well, you know, probably the most famous country that has a lion as its national animal, even though that country never had lions. What's up with that, dog? Anyway, you guys know how I love animals and animal symbolism and just symbolism in general, so I thought it was cool that all the animals that I used in this, just for the record, I know that I also reference bird going up just like a bird in this song, but the bird that's being referenced is an eagle, so it counts. Bird is not an animal. Bird is a classification of an animal, which an eagle is. So yeah, eagles are raptors, but whatever. Anyway, again, from the macro perspective, in this song, there are 21 different references to some aspect of royalty or specific princes, either in name or in function. 21 is important because Red Moon 21, I just told you why 21 was important. It's my birthday day. So this song, my name, is being referenced 21 different times in this song. I did not point out all of them in this breakdown, even though this has gone super long. How long has this been? Let's see. It's been 30 minutes. In the 30 minutes, I did not point out all 21 references to royalty, even though I pointed out some more of them than I was supposed to. So there are still Easter eggs for people to dig into if they are interested in that. But just know that I put a lot of thought into this. So yeah, it's not just another braggadocious song of some rapper beating on their chest talking about how they're the god of everything or whatever, but very intentional with the pen. Okay, next song, Forever. Let's get it. This is the song that nobody heard until it came out, which means it's probably not a lot of people have heard it by the time they're watching this video anyway. But yeah, this song was almost a single. It was almost a single over I Love, but I like I Love better than this. So I Love became a single instead of this. But this was originally supposed to be a single. Not originally. Originally, this wasn't supposed to be on the EP, which I'll touch on in a second. But when I decided it was going to be on the EP, it was going to be a single instead of I Love. But it's not better than I Love in my personal opinion. So it wasn't a single. B-sides for the win. Okay, this is the fourth song off my now released self-produced debut EP, Amari Vol I, Amari. This project is a concept album with each song based on a different meaning of my name, Amari. In this case, Sanskrit/Hindi. I've gotten like different, depending on the source that I use, I've gotten different interpretations. I know that both of those come from the same part of the world. I don't really know the differences and the nuances in the two, but I think Sanskrit is actually much older than Hindi. Somebody who's smart in the comment section, let me know. But point is, the meaning comes from some type of Indian language, meaning forever or immortal. And I used both in this song. I just used forever way more, hence the song is titled Forever, and also it makes more sense in my poem track list. So, but it does mean forever or immortal, and both of those things be happening in the song. Yeah. Okay, the working name for this song was Violet Violin. Why? Well, listen to the verse section, the beat of the verse section. I actually wasn't going to put this beat on the EP because I didn't think it was good, but I showed a very unpolished demo. Okay, it's not that I didn't think it was good, I just didn't think it was great. But I showed a very unpolished demo of it to some people on my Discord server, which is why you guys should be more connected with your boy. I be like, you know, I released a bunch of instrumentals on Patreon and stuff. I be giving, okay? I be giving. On Discord server, and people really loved it, like, which was super surprising to me. I was like, y'all messing with this? And they were like, oh, this is great. And that was before I even told people I was releasing the EP. They just said that, and I was like, okay, all right, this might be a sign. Like, if you're gonna smack me in the face with the sign, I can see a sign, okay? So it ended up on my EP, like, literally because of you guys. So that's why this song exists. So if you don't like it, well, don't blame me, blame y'all. Those of you who listened closely probably picked up on the fact that I used the drums from my previous YouTube intro in the chorus of this song. So what I mean by that is, if you go back and before I made Prince my intro theme song, if you go back and listen to the previous beat that I had as the intro music, that beat's drum section is the drum section of this song's chorus. Okay, I originally was going to make a full song out of the beat that was my intro for my YouTube channel, just like as like a nice nod and Easter egg to you guys, but I hate it. I can't stand it anymore. But to be honest, I was so tired of that thing, I couldn't bring myself to listen to it long enough to make a decent song out of it. So I just commandeered the drums like a cop and used them in this song instead. So just in case you guys didn't know, I don't like my intro music from the previous intro anymore. I've heard it way too many times. It's too much. It's too much. I wrote the lyrics of this song to my future wife. That's the muse for this. I don't have a wife now, and I don't know who she's gonna be, but one day I'd like to have one. Hopefully somebody can put up with me forever. So, haha, see what I did there? So I just used the idea of having a wife and the idea of marriage in general as the muse to create lyrics for this song, because marriage in theory is supposed to be forever, not 3 to 5 years like it is in the West, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. Some lyrics that I wanted to talk about. On this song, I made most of the sections have a continuous AAAA pattern, which means all of the lines in the section end on the same rhyme type. One example of that is scroll up. You too bruised tattoo. It's all the ooh sound rhyme. Or in the chorus, forever, letter, weather, together, forever, treasure, pleasure, together. You know what I'm saying? It's AAAA. So all of the words, all of the lines end on the same rhyming word type. I did this because I wanted each line to feel very connected, and in turn the lyrics as a whole to have a feeling of continuing on forever, but hopefully not in a bad way, because like the repetitive nature of things, repetition is very dangerous. The human brain likes repetition a lot, which is why a lot of like #1 singles and stuff are like super repetitive. But if you get too repetitive, then the human brain like shuts off and starts to think it's trash. So hopefully you're threading the needle there. Hopefully I threaded the needle well. In the same vein, the rhythmic flow and cadence of each section stays constant. That's not true, because the first verse, there's literally I change up the cadence a little bit, but whatever. Stays constant through an entire section, so it stays consistent throughout, again creating a sense of continuity. Again, in the second section, I did this thing where I didn't, but for the most part, the things stay relatively similar throughout each section, which is different than some of the other songs where like I was intentionally trying to be as varied as possible. Even the rap section that is the second verse is majority the same note. Like it's mostly just a C just throughout the verse section. And the flow and cadence there is like super similar throughout. Not because I can't rap, just because again, theme over vibes, always. The second line in both halves of the chorus mentions red, like to some extent, scarlet and ruby, respectively, which I liked because, well, red is often associated with love and passion, aka the core theme of this song. But it also relates to me because, well, red branding and all that, but which also ties in with the ad-libs of More Than Gold, which is another precious mineral, like scarlet and ruby are precious minerals, and it is yet another reference to my branding. What is the Scarlet Letter? That's a reference to a book. It's an adultery thing. I kind of fell asleep during English when we were like focusing on that book. It wasn't my vibe, but I know it's a great, amazing book. It's critically acclaimed and everyone loves it. It's just not me. Okay, I'm sorry. But the whole concept of that line is basically to say, I'm not going to commit adultery. Because you get the Scarlet Letter for being accused of committing adultery. I ain't no cheater, is what I'm saying, okay? Okay, I just told you in 2 songs ago that I got some trauma with getting cheated on. And I'm not going to cheat on you. That's the point, okay? Next line. What are rolling clouds? I'm about to give you a whole meteorology degree. Let's go. Rolling clouds are a rare form of Arcus clouds, which is a low horizontal cloud formation. They typically form along the leading edge of thunderstorms, which means when they show up, you know a thunderstorm is coming shortly thereafter. Thunderstorms, which are often used metaphorically to talk about bad time. On that note, both the thunderstorm line and the following planting seeds line, so the rolling clouds is a thunderstorm line. That plus the following planting seeds line act as a double entendre. Yes, another one. On one hand, you have the clear thunderstorm and gardening farming reference. Oh, okay. On one hand, you have the clear thunderstorm and gardening farming reference, which I don't think needs to be explained, but I will anyway. Troubling times in life are often metaphorically referred to as the storms of life, which I paired with the next line to act as sometimes things will be bad, but we'll use those times as a catalyst for growth. You plant seeds, it rains, things grow. So that's the metaphor there. On the other hand, you have rolling clouds, a metaphor for rolling in the sheets, raining weather, a metaphor for a climax, planting a seed, a common euphemism which I am not going to explain right now, all leading to we'll grow this thing together, which can either be interpreted as growing a baby, i.e. pregnancy, or growing your family unit via making a baby. Either way works, and both are the result of the aforementioned acts. So, next section. Yeah, that's you got the point. If you're grown watching this, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not grown, then I'm not gonna explain it to you. I do forever together will be my pleasure. Interstellar to the moon and back together. Most people probably got this, but the interstellar line is a reference to the phrase, I love you to the moon and back, using the distance from here to the moon as a comp for the vastness of someone's love. Well, that line originated in the 1979 play Nuts and is actually only one half of the interaction, which goes as follows. When I was a little girl, I used to say to her, I love you to the moon and down again and around the world and back again. I'm so glad we shortened that up because that's a mouthful. And she used to say to me, I love you to the sun and down again and around the stars and back again. I originally used the third chorus, which as you guys noticed, like things change a little bit in each chorus. But in third chorus, like there are entirely new lines, like entirely new lyrics. And I originally used the third chorus as a completion of that call and response. So I had I love you to the moon and back on the first two, and then on the third one, I said I love you to the stars and back. And also to show that over the course of the song, my love for this metaphorical muse has grown from the distance to the moon and back to now being the distance to the stars and back. But it ended up sounding really weird. Like that whole section where I changed the lyrics, I think sounds kind of weird. But again, themes over vibe, but only so much at this point. And it's a B-side. I need all the streams I can get. And if people think that the second sounds weird, then, well, they won't listen to it anymore. But it ended up sounding really weird. So I just went back to the original of To the Moon and Back. But I still thought I'd tell everyone what the original plan was because it connects with the whole concept of this song being one of the daytime sun songs. So Prince, this one, sun songs, I Love, Red Moon, nighttime moon songs. Next part. part. Yeah, you shine, light beams out just like a ray. So this is like the first part of the second verse, the rapping section. It is me equating my wife to the, again, I don't have a wife, my future wife, to the sun or at least the star. On the surface, this says that her mere presence is enough to overpower bad days, storm clouds, and turn them into good ones, shining days. It thematically also makes this a sun song, especially since the to the star and back thing is not in the song anymore, which admittedly would have been more obvious if I did to the stars and back together instead of to the moon and back together, but whatever. What I mean by that is that the first two songs, I kind of explained this, but I'm just going to read this off, is that the first two songs, I Love and Red Moon, represent the night, but in different ways thematically. And in turn, Prince and Forever represent the day and sun, but again, in different ways thematically. Each section has one that is focused on me and one that is focused on my partner. So I Love and Forever are night and day and moon and sun that are focused on my partner, and then Red Moon and Prince are night and day and moon and sun, but they are focused on me. So again, intentional. This is complemented by the fact that the moon and sun are often paired as partners in mythology. The Louvre line is cool because it compares the person's beauty around the home, so just like in everyday life, not like all done up and, you know, looking like you going to a 5-star restaurant, but just, you know, you just vibing, just being you on a normal day. Compares the person's beauty around the home to that of a great piece of art on display in one of the most famous art museums in the world, the Louvre. The immortal line can't decay. I like that, and I just wanted to point out that it references the immortal alt meaning or alt naming of the song. I don't have anything else to explain about it, as I think its meaning is kind of spelled out in the line, but I just wanted to point out the connection to the title. Next and last song, I don't know if anybody is going to watch this, to be honest. If you are like actually watching this through, I appreciate it so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I really do value you guys so much, so thank you. Okay, this is the fifth and final song. It's called Eternally Lovely. A lot of you guys have not heard it because it is on Patreon and it is on Bandcamp. So those are the only people who have gone to Bandcamp or people who have subscribed to my Patreon are the only people who have heard it. But final song on the expanded edition of my self-produced debut EP, Amari Vol I, Amari, which consists of 4 tracks, 5 tracks on the expanded version, which this is referencing. This project is a concept album with each song based on a different meaning of my name, in this case, Greek. Which, the reason I keep reading those descriptions off, even though it says basically the same thing except the meaning of it, is because it is important. It's like the meaning of the name directly impacted everything else that I chose to do with the song. So, for every single song, but also in this case. As I'm sure you guys have noticed, this song includes noticed if you've actually heard it, but this song includes an audio recording of the beach/ocean as the intro, as well as in the background of the initial half of the song, which actually is I referenced in my reaction to Jimin featuring JK, the song Letter. They have, I'm pretty sure that's the song. One of Jimin's recent songs has like the ocean in the background, and I said like, oh, I really like the song. I did something similar in one of my songs. This is the song. Okay, so yeah, which no is not audio from a Greek beach. Oh, I wish I could have done that. If I was rich, this would be audio from a Greek beach. But when I think of Greece, one of the first things that comes to mind is the Mediterranean Sea. The water that be around Greece, okay, is called the Mediterranean. So as a nod to that, I wanted to include ocean noises and water droplets in the production. The ocean noises happen in the background for like the entire song, basically. The water droplets are used as a percussive element, specifically in the first half of the song. That then gave me the idea to do a lo-fi track, which is what this is, kind of, because they often include nature sounds within the production, and just like beaches, lo-fi tracks are peaceful, aka lovely. Not to mention that lo-fi tracks include a inherent level of repetition that makes them feel eternal or continuing on forever, i.e. eternally lovely. This repetition is also what causes our brain to be able to kind of tune them out as background noise, and in turn allows us to focus. This is why millions of people use lo-fi as their go-to study music, although I wouldn't say Eternally Lovely is like great study lo-fi, but still. There are specific elements in the production that sways back and forth, getting closer to and farther from the listener, just like waves do at the beach. Essentially, the entire song is meant to have a movement element to it, emulating the ocean, but specifically on a peaceful day, not like one of those like crazy storms in the Mediterranean. I originally intended to add vocals to this track, but I ended up leaving it as just a instrumental lo-fi song, because a lot of lo-fi songs are instrumental anyway, because I thought it made it a better overall song conceptually. I didn't like what I was writing. Remember I was telling you, like, if I write something that's whack, I would just go back and rewrite it. In this case, I just was like, this is just better as music. So that's what I did. But because of my initial intention to have vocals on it, the first half of the song is 112 BPM and the second half of the song is 122 BPM. Yes, the song is 2 different speeds. It's not a huge jump, but it's a jump. It's definitely noticeable. And they're in the 110s, 120s, instead of being like 80 or 90, which is what most lo-fi songs are. And most chill hop songs are, but I felt like with the rest of the project being between 120 and 140 BPM, having this song be the one song that's like 80 BPM just felt like it would be really out of place, and I wanted the song to cohesively work with the rest of the project, even if it's not like attached with the rest of the project on streaming services. If someone listened to all 5 songs straight through, which is what you could do if you purchased it on Bandcamp, or if you were on my Patreon and you listened to all 4 and then listened to this one. So anyway, that's the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to say about this project. There are some other Easter eggs and things I didn't touch on, as I didn't want to completely polish out all of the nuances of the songs. But hopefully over the process of watching this videos, it's been 3, dog, you wouldn't shut up, and you had a lot to talk about. You've gained a new level of understanding and appreciation for the songs and the project as a whole, and I hope to see you back here when I release Volume 2 in a few months. Yes, a few months. Ciao.